Hi, I'm Kelly, and this is Kelly Loves Books and Movies. It is August already. Can you believe it? So this is just a little wrap up of what I read in July. I think I read 7 books, which is, I don't remember the last time I read 7 books in a month. Did I in June? I don't know, but obviously this booktube is getting me to read more. Alright, first up, I read It Ends With Us. Now, this is not a book I would normally read. Or pick up, So I've never read a Colleen Hoover book, but I saw the trailer for the movie that is coming out this weekend, actually. And I love Blake Lively, so I was like, ooh, I kind of want to see that. And I'm like, oh, it's a book. Maybe I should read the book first. And stay tuned. I am going to go to the movie either this weekend or sometime early next week, and I'm planning on making a comparison video. So I'll probably talk more about the book then, because I'll be talking with the movie. But overall, I didn't really I didn't hate it, but the characters were all kind of eh. The dude was creepy from the very beginning. Like the first time. Come on. And I didn't like her other little dude. I don't know. It was not for me. But it wasn't horrible. It's an interesting story, kind of. It will be interesting to see what they put in the movie, what they leave out. But yeah, and also I'm a little confused because I thought the characters in the book were like Lily, the main character. I thought she was 25-ish, and Blake Lively is a lot older than that. But I guess probably not. She's probably the character maybe is a little older, but still, whatever. It's just from the trailer and then reading the book, I'm thinking they seem too old to be these characters, but yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, I read it 2.5 stars, if that. Okay. Next, I read Blacktop Wasteland. And I have to say, it's definitely going to be in the running for my favorite reads of the year. Okay, so it's about Bug, he's got his life together. He used to be like a criminal. He was like the getaway driver. He's like, okay, this is also why I love this book, because I'm totally into movies and books and stuff and shows and anything that has fast cars in it, I'm in. So the very opening, scene here in the book is him in a pickup street race, and I'm like, oh, I was hooked 5 seconds in. Anyway, so he's in, but then he's did that in his younger days, but he gets out of it, and he has his own business, has a family. He gets but his business isn't doing very well, so he needs a way to make money quick, and an opportunity comes up, and of course he takes it. Not without hesitance, but he does it. And I have to say that I can't wait till this is a movie, because it did get options, so someday it will actually become a movie, I hope. Because the way he escaped in, the heist, I'm like, he did what? Yeah, okay, so anyway, hijinks ensue, does crimes, lots of driving around fast, yeah. Anyway, I loved Bug. I felt bad for him because, obviously he was trying to do the right thing and things happen and he gets sucked back in, and it's totally one of my favorite movies. It probably will be a great movie. Make that movie someday, whoever owns the rights, because I gotta see this on film. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, yeah. It's gonna be on. I can't say it's my favorite of the month because there's another book later that I love just as much. So I would say they're both equals. Tied for my favorite book of the month. Alright, after that I read The Friend Zone. I figured I had to read some Abby Jimenez because she's a local author. And I keep hearing all this stuff about her. I mean, like, I had never heard, I mean, I guess I had seen, like her displays and stuff in the bookstores and stuff, but I never really thought much about it because I haven't really read a lot of romance. So, yeah. I started with the friend zone since that's where the beginning is. And I really enjoyed the story. I kind of figured there's like two twists, and I figured out one of them like right away. The other one I did not see coming, but I mean afterwards you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I saw one twist, not the other. It's, one of those things. I liked the characters. I was, interested in what was going on. It kept me engaged. It was a pretty good book. After that, since S.A. Cosby, I mean, after Blacktop Wasteland, which was the first book of his I read, I kind of have to read everything. And so I got Razorblade Tears. And Razorblade Tears, I know lots of booktubers have been talking about that lately. Also, a very, very good book. I did not like it as much as Blacktop Wasteland, but it didn't have a lot of fast cars. So, I mean, that's kind of a mark against it. I think there's a little bit of like dry chasing and running, but I mean, it's a crime novel, so I mean, anyway, two guys, one's a former criminal, the other one I'm not so sure if he's former or not, but anyway, their sons are married, they get murdered, they were never supportive of their sons when they were living, so they decide they need to figure out who killed them because the cops don't seem to be doing anything about it. So, they get involved in probably way over their heads than what they expected. Yeah, it was a good whodunit. I actually kind of figured out who did it early, but not necessarily why. And I loved it. After Razorblade Tears, I read The Summer Pact, and this was not something I really had planned on reading. I needed, for the hardest book challenge you'll ever do, I needed a book that was released in July and to read it in July, so I kind of was like, and since I started the challenge thing at the very end of July, I kind of just went through a list online to see, okay, what was released this month that sounds even semi-interesting that won't take me too long to read. And The Summer Pact kind of caught my eye. It's basically a story of friends who have something horrible happen to them in college, so then they make this pact that, if anything horrible, if any of us need each other at any time, we'll drop everything and run. So obviously something many years down the road, something happens, they come together, they do some trips. It's a pretty nice story. I like that the three friends, it's like two girls and one guy and one straight guy, two girls, and you don't see like a lot of books about friend groups that are more mixed like that. So that was interesting. And then, yeah, I don't necessarily know that I like the ending. I think sometimes these stories are really good and then they just seem to we got to end this somehow, so they wrap it up really quick, and I felt like the ending was a little rushed maybe, but I still liked it. Next book I read was The Greatest Gambling Story Ever Told, and this is a story about, it's kind of two stories going on at the same time that are intertwined. One is just the general story of Winning Colors, who won the Kentucky Derby in 1988, and she's a filly, and at that time was the first filly in forever to do it. So that was an interesting story, just from when she was purchased all the way up to winning the Kentucky Derby, just kind of a little bit here and there about the whole thing. And then the other story kind of intertwined is these guys that made a pretty big futures bet on her in Mexico. So then they had to figure out how to, because it was kind of a shady track and that the drug cartels owned, and how they were going to get their money when it paid off. I mean, it was kind of convoluted, and I kind of understood it, but, and then I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, how did this person know this? And I didn't even realize that one of the betting people was the person who wrote the book. So I didn't realize that till later, because at a couple points I was like, what? How did they know that? What? But yeah. It was an interesting story. Not really the greatest gambling story ever told, probably, but I still enjoyed it. Winning Colors to me is a pretty fun story. When I was a kid, well, I wasn't old enough to gamble then, so we went and I don't know and they kind of touched on the book too, like all women and girls all excited about the filly beating the boys, and yeah. So my family and I went to Canterbury, and I'd said, you gotta bet on Winning Colors, and maybe my mom bet $10. I don't know. So it wasn't like a huge win or anything, but we won, and it was so exciting. So anything with Winning Colors and the little history there was really interesting. And then last, Beartown, Frederick Beckman. This also was my favorite book of the month, so we'll have to make a tie. And Beartown is basically Friday Night Lights, but hockey in Sweden. I mean, if you want to know, and I'm thinking more, I know there's a Friday Night Lights book, but I've never read it, but this is like the whole series, the TV series, all the little things going on, and yeah, obviously bad things happen, and it's basically, and you also learn about hockey and just the hockey culture. And what I liked a lot was that there was like, the story wasn't just one person telling the whole thing, it was a whole, you saw her, the story was told from a whole bunch of different people's views, and it wasn't like this chapter is Sam, this chapter is Molly. Those aren't the real names, but like, even within paragraphs, this paragraph would be what was going on with this guy, and then it just switched seamlessly to the next paragraph talking about this lady's and what's going on with her, and everything like that. Anyway, I stayed up. Now technically I finished this on August 1st, but it was 1 a.m. on August 1st, and yeah, I stayed up. I had to get up at 6 the next morning to work, but I couldn't put it down. That's how much I was totally into it. And yeah, I finished it at 1 a.m. Yeah, it was a great story. I liked the way it was told. It was kind of interesting. And it is the first book in a trilogy, so now I gotta go read the next two. Anyway, those are my books for July. Stay tuned for what I think about the It Ends With Us movie. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.